I was going to make the same remarks regardless of what the verdict on punitive damages was going to be, if it was 0 or some significant number, because even the verdict last week, quite apart from what happened today, is a significant, significant win for this man for standing up for himself and for others. The system worked it the way it's supposed to, and a victim gets healed, and those who are responsible for what happened to him are held accountable. The message is to all youth organizations, churches, and schools: you do not get to keep secrets about hidden dangers to children. And that doesn't matter if you're a church, a school, the Boy Scouts of America. If you put the interests of your organization ahead of the safety of children, the guardians of the community's safety, which we call juries, will hold you accountable. That is the message that was given last week, and that is the message that was given as if shouted from a mountaintop today. And this is the last thing I'm going to say, that I am incredibly proud of this man. It was not that long ago that he did not have the language even to talk about what happened to him as a child, let alone the ability to get up on a stand in front of a courtroom of people and tell his story. And to watch him come as far as he's come in the last year and a half or so is one of the most gratifying things I've ever seen. I couldn't be more proud to know this man and to have been given the chance to be his advocate.
Nationally, I've tried these cases all around the United States, and by far, this decision by the jury will have far-reaching effects. No jury has returned a verdict against the Boy Scouts of America of this level ever. The Boy Scouts of America, where they have been sued since 1982 or 1983, have settled 90 to 95% of the cases. Most of the cases settle. The verdicts are silent. They're sealed with confidentiality agreements. And people never find out the light of day as to what happened. In this case, we tried it. Mr. Lewis here was braver than most people I know, because he went into the courtroom, he told people what happened to him, and very few people are willing to do that. It just is, you're a victim, and very few people are willing to do that. So what we saw here in Portland is really pulled back the cover on the Boy Scouts of America and showed what they've done over all these years to cover up. And hopefully there will be young men and boys around the United States, when they join the Boy Scouts of America now, will know that there is a danger to them. Not a great danger. The Boy Scouts of America is a safe organization. However, they need to be honest about their problem. And especially now, and I'll conclude, is that with what's going on with the Pope and the Catholic Church around the world now, this verdict will ring loudly from Portland, Oregon, to say that people now will no longer be subservient to large institutions and no longer speak their voice when they've been injured.
It's a little surreal right now. It's quite a bit overwhelming. It's a good day. It all turned out correct, the way it's supposed to. Big corporations can't just be above the law. They need to answer to society, and they need, especially with youth organizations, you say you're the best, you better act the best. You need to set the precedent, not just, well, it's good enough. And that's what happens when you deal with the youth. You have to protect them. And I'm just glad the jury agreed with me.
What would you say to other victims of abuse right now?
It's very scary, but take that first step and reach out, ask for help. Regardless of whether it's a lawyer, a counselor, a therapist, anybody. Just ask for help and you'll get it. Don't be scared. Even though it is scary, you can do it. I did it.
Can you talk a little bit about how, what kind of toll this whole process has taken on you and your family? Like, days in the courtroom, the emotions, that sort of stuff.
It's very emotional. It's actually pulled my family a lot closer. I thought I had a close family to begin with. It's pulled them a lot closer. Very emotionally draining. There are times end of the day I go home, grab a bite to eat, and crash out for the rest of the night. I didn't think it'd be this exhausting. It's also helped me see things in a different light, and I've gotten a little bit more perspective on life. I'm very appreciative for that.
I mean, what do you say to a young boy who is thinking about joining the Scouts?
I think the Scouting program is a good program. It just needs to be repaired. They need to take steps towards that. So if the Scouts are good, if you want to join, please do so. But just keep your eyes open. Be aware. Get your training and be aware. My next thing is I just want to go home. I want to mow my yard. But I still want to be involved. I just don't know how or what's going to happen. Some of my troop is still going to be involved, or still is involved in this, and I'm going to be there for them. And that's the other people that are part of this lawsuit. We were all in the same troop. We're kind of trooping in, we're going to troop out. That's our whole motto.
Let me give you a little background on this. There are 6 men who were involved in this particular lawsuit, and Judge Whitmire decided, for good reasons, to try one case at a time. But the 6 men, many of whom had not seen each other since they were kids, it has been really interesting and very inspirational to watch them stick together. And at a key moment in some negotiations a year or so ago, one of them said to a mediator, a very high-powered federal mediator, he said, "You know, Judge," and it was almost exactly this. It was burned in my mind because it was one of the most inspirational moments I've ever had in the practice of law, and Kerry was sitting right there. And the man said, "You know what, Judge? When we were little kids in the LDS church, they taught us we were all brothers. And then this horrible person came along and did these things to us, and they stuck with him and not with us. And in Scouts, they taught us always stick together. And then this horrible person came along and did this to us, and they stuck with him and not with us. And it's been a long time, Judge, and we didn't know each other very well until lately. But I guess the thing is, we're going to stick together. So if you got anything to say, you can say it to all of us."
We came into this together, and we're sticking together, and we'll go out together. I don't know if I exactly have closure yet. I have a long road ahead of me still, okay? But it's a huge jumping point, a huge start for me. I take things a little bit more seriously now in this regard. I listen. I take pause now. I try to evaluate instead of just head first running into things. So I already know I'm a little bit better off than I was. I just don't know how much better off yet, but I've got a grin on my face, so yes. As long as I was able to help one person, this is all well worth it. That's one of the basic reasons I'm here. And I don't think that's ever been brought out, but if one person's helped, saved, prevented, anything along those lines, whether I know them or not, that's perfect. I've done it. I did my job. And that'll make me happy for the rest of my life.
Has anyone from the Boy Scouts of America apologized to you?
No, not one person. No one's even looked at me.
And you have a $18.5 million punitive damages verdict, so there's that. Is an apology something that you're waiting for, or does that mean something to you? Or are you still hoping that might happen?
It would mean something to me. I'm not exactly expecting it. I'd be more shocked if I got it. But I don't think they're to that point yet. Maybe sometime in the future.